Welcome everybody to Pika Thoughts, a little series we have here on games that we finish right after we finish them on stream. I'm Pika Punch, and tonight we actually just finished Life is Strange episode 5. This last week we've done the entirety of the series, and I can't lie to y'all, this was incredibly emotional. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you, I went into this game with like this certain type of notion, with this certain type of like I don't even know predilection or precognition. Like I already thought low of this game, if I'm to be completely honest, when I first started playing. But because stream and everybody in stream wanted me to play it, I was like, heck, why the ball's not? It's popular for a reason and it's episodic. It works well for our format. So we started playing, and I got into it, and I started getting to the lore. I figured out kind of like what the whole game is about, and essentially, the plot is all just this girl gets powers after seeing her old best friend die, and the entirety of the game is her using these powers to solve this mystery that's going on at the school. And the mystery that's going on at the school, her college rather, is it a college or a high school? They never really like make that clear, but I'm pretty sure someone had told me that it is a college and a high school in chat. Don't quote me on that. I could be entirely wrong. But yeah, essentially all she's doing is going around with her best friend from years ago, and trying to figure out like the story or the mystery behind what's going on with it starts off with Nathan Prescott, a character in here who's like kind of shady, and kind of like, I don't even know how else to explain it. Like, just kind of super shady and like really well to do with like the community, but is a shitty person himself. He's the type of person who's just daddy's boy, rich boy type deal, but his dad also treats him like shit. I'm gonna go ahead and digress. I feel like at this point, Life is Strange is like pretty like fairly known to the rest of the world, to all of like the people that have heard of it or people who just game. I feel like it sells itself as like this really melodramatic teen, experience, like this dramatic teen story, but it's much more than that. I feel like it has an incredible adult theme throughout all of it, which someone else had brought up in chat before, which was you can't chase the things that you wanted in the past. So trying to continue them on in the present kind of is detrimental to your future type deal, as well as not being able to let things go. I felt like that was a huge theme in the game, was just not being able to let things go. I will give it, though, its melodramatic moments, because even though I felt like a lot of the dialogue was incredibly eye-popping and eye-rolling, the scenes that they wrote in which you felt, in which it was supposed to play on your emotions, really did weigh down on me. Like, specifically, there's this part where Chloe and Max are both laying in bed type deal, and she goes to take a picture, she goes to take a selfie, as in Max goes to take a selfie, and Chloe photobombs it or whatever, right? And they're just laying there on the bed afterwards, and there's like music playing, and it's like, I've definitely been at a point in my life where I've been able to like sit back, relax, listen to the music, and enjoy the company of whoever's next to me. And excuse me, I feel like there are several points throughout this game that do that perfectly. I feel like there are several points throughout this game where it's like, wow, that's a moment. You know what I mean? Like, this is amazing, and this feels like wholesome, and it feels like I'm sharing something with someone. And the music definitely helps with that. I wish there was more in it. I wish there was more music in it. I wish that they put a lot of more time and effort into, what's the word? Just trying to get the emotion that they did with the writing, or at least the writing for the scenes, through the music. Because the writing for the dialogue itself specifically just kind of was like, it just felt very stiff. It felt very off. It felt like, and this wasn't all the time. It's just like there are certain uses of hella, like the word hella, that I felt were off. There are certain uses of other words. I can't even think of genuine specifics because it was so consistently cringy throughout with its dialogue that I'm kind of like, whoa. There comes a point in time though where you kind of just turn it off within like the second episode, and you just kind of go with it, and you just accept the fact that this is how they speak, that they are teenagers, that maybe things are going to be as cringy as they are. But I digress on that. The fact that they let themselves do an episodic format with this really softened the blow with the gameplay or whatever, right? Because I'm not gonna lie, after an episode, I felt like I played an episode. After I played an episode, I felt like I played a chapter. Like I felt extenuated. I felt like, damn, dude, like I have to play another episode, or damn, dude, I can't believe I just did all that. I feel like had I played this when it came out, I would have anticipated the next episode type deal. I would have been like tired out with the one that I just played, and then do the rest. But because we played it, every day type deal instead of just like all through one through, I feel like that definitely helped us out. But I could see if someone were to play this all in one sitting, it would be just too much. It would just be like whatever. Like I would be bored with the gameplay, because essentially all it is like looking around for stuff, grabbing keys, and then putting it with other things. That's not a bad thing. A lot of point and click adventures do that. A lot of adventure games in the style of Telltale do that. But what kept it interesting was the fact that the story kept progressing, and what kept it interesting was the fact that it was almost like a retry. You know what I mean? Like they put a normal game mechanic in the narrative of the story, which is rewinding or just retrying, and I thought that it was cool, but it wore off after a little while, and that's why I could see them doing the entirety of this gameplay in episodes. So if I'm gonna be just completely blunt here, I felt like the gameplay itself was lackluster. I felt like the gameplay itself, aside the rewind mechanic, was just kind of like whatever. For the lack of better wording, I felt like it was very shallow. The only times in which I felt the rewind mechanic was done or utilized correctly or awesomely was when you would have to make something fall and then rewind so that it falls on something specific, or there was another time in which like you would do something and then rewind everything else, but you would stay in the same spot type deal. I thought those were very clever. I thought those moments were like, oh crap, you know what I mean? Like, oh shit. I felt like the game lended itself to that type of satisfaction more often, but it didn't do it as often as I would like it to. So I don't know. Any other gripes that I have with the game have to do specifically with like the characters. I feel like a lot of the characters themselves were like shallow as well. But they serve their purpose in the sense of just kind of like conveying the story, because the person that is the deepest here is Max, the main character, and she's the one that we spend the most time with. A lot of people are gonna hate me for this, but I dislike Chloe. I dislike Chloe a lot. I felt like she was too emotional. I felt she was too irrational. And there are just so many outbursts from her that reminded me of people that I specifically know that act exactly the way she does, that make me feel like, just please get away from me. Now, there is a prequel series with her as the main character, and I'm pretty sure it dives into her character specifically, and maybe we get to sympathize with her. Maybe we get to learn her story and the rest of it. But with that being said, I've yet to play it, and everything that I have played from this game, from Life is Strange, has led me to believe that Chloe isn't that great of a person. Chloe isn't grateful. Chloe is kind of a cunt, to be very blunt about it, and I'm super sorry to use such harsh language, but the way that her character was written was just entirely irritable, and I did not enjoy being around her. I did enjoy playing as Max, though. I very much enjoyed Max. Why? Because she makes references throughout the entirety of the game. Like, there's this one specific one where she like takes out a can from a soda machine, and she's like, release the crack can. And it's just like those little quips, those like little like quirky like moments that I love about Max. But also she's very selfless. She's very about Chloe and saving Chloe and making sure that she's okay, as well as anybody else who's there in Arcadia Bay or in her school. And I don't know, it's really hard to dislike Max when she has such a can-do attitude, when she has such a like open and like lovingness to her, even though she's kind of like shy and blocked off. I feel like a lot of Chloe, shines in her whenever like they actually end up meeting together, when they actually, end up coming together and all that stuff in the game. Uh, but yeah, I don't know. To like close my thoughts here on Life is Strange. I highly suggest it to people who like the telltale episodic type of deal or whatever, because it is emotional enough. The story is interesting enough. There are little quirks here, like little bits of gameplay and little bits of dialogue, certain characters that I disliked, but overall, I thought it was an enjoyable, melodramatic teen experience with awesome music that I felt could have been a little bit more amped up. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of a song called Caring is Creepy by the Shins. There's also like this other one by the Shins called New Slang that I felt would have fit perfectly in this game, and I got that from a movie called Garden State, but I'll definitely digress. Um, I just felt like there are very little bits here and there that they could have improved on, but overall, I'm satisfied with the experience. Overall, I felt like it was a great game for people who enjoy emotional, buddy, romance, episodic stories. So yeah, that was my Pika thoughts on Life is Strange. You guys have been absolutely amazing. Follow me here on YouTube, on Twitch, on wherever the heck it is you're seeing this. You guys are awesome, and peace.